In the wake of World War I, a new and dangerous ideology began to take root in Germany: Nazism. Born out of the chaos and humiliation of defeat, Nazism preyed on the fears and insecurities of a nation grappling with economic collapse and political instability. At its core, Nazism was a toxic brew of extreme nationalism, virulent anti-Semitism, and a thirst for authoritarian rule. It promised a return to greatness, a restoration of German pride, and a scapegoat for all of Germany's ills. The seeds of Nazism were sown in the minds of men like Anton Drexler, who founded the German Workers' Party in 1919. This small fringe group would later become the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or Nazi Party, under the leadership of a charismatic and ruthless demagogue named Adolf Hitler. Hitler found fertile ground for his poisonous ideas in a country still reeling from the trauma of war. The Treaty of Versailles, which had formally ended the conflict, had imposed harsh reparations on Germany, stripping it of territory and saddling it with crippling war debt. The German economy lay in shambles, crippled by hyperinflation and mass unemployment. The Weimar Republic, Germany's fledgling democracy, seemed weak and incapable of solving the nation's problems. In this atmosphere of despair and resentment, Hitler's message of hate and national revival resonated with a growing number of Germans. He offered them a seductive but dangerous vision: a return to glory, a world cleansed of its enemies, and a powerful, unified Germany under his absolute control. The First World War had left Germany a shattered nation. The human cost was immeasurable, with millions dead and wounded. The economy was in ruins, crippled by the war effort and the burden of reparations demanded by the victors. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, was seen by many Germans as a humiliating diktat that blamed them solely for the war. It stripped Germany of its colonies, reduced its military strength, and imposed heavy financial penalties. The Weimar Republic, established in 1919, faced the daunting task of rebuilding the country and restoring its place in the world. However, it was plagued from the outset by political instability, economic turmoil, and social unrest. The government was weak and divided, undermined by extremist groups on both the left and the right who sought to exploit the chaos for their own ends. The German people were disillusioned and desperate, easy prey for demagogues who offered simple solutions to complex problems. The hyperinflation of the early 1920s wiped out the savings of the middle class and plunged millions into poverty. The Wall Street crash of 1929 sent shockwaves through the global economy, hitting Germany particularly hard. Unemployment soared, businesses collapsed, and social unrest reached fever pitch. The stage was set for the rise of a charismatic leader who could exploit the widespread anger, fear, and desperation to seize power. Adolf Hitler was a master of propaganda and a charismatic speaker who knew how to tap into the darkest impulses of human nature. Born in Austria in 1889, Hitler had been a disillusioned veteran of World War I, deeply affected by Germany's defeat. He joined the German Workers' Party in 1919, quickly rising through the ranks to become its leader. Hitler possessed a hypnotic hold over his audiences, captivating them with his fiery rhetoric and promises of national revival. Hitler's message resonated with a growing number of Germans, particularly those who felt humiliated by the Treaty of Versailles, impoverished by the economic crisis, and threatened by the rise of communism. He offered them scapegoats for their problems: Jews, communists, intellectuals, and liberals, whom he blamed for Germany's woes. He promised to restore Germany to its former glory, rebuild the economy, and create a racially pure Aryan nation. Through carefully orchestrated rallies, marches, and propaganda campaigns, Hitler and the Nazi Party steadily gained popularity throughout the 1920s and early 1930s. They exploited the weaknesses of the Weimar Republic, using the freedoms of a democratic society to undermine it from within. The Nazis used violence and intimidation against their opponents, creating an atmosphere of fear and silencing dissent. The Beer Hall Putsch of 1923, a failed attempt by Hitler and his followers to seize power in Munich, further enhanced his image as a man of action willing to fight for his beliefs. By 1933, the Nazi Party had become the largest party in the Reichstag, the German parliament. President Paul von Hindenburg, a World War I hero, reluctantly appointed Hitler as Chancellor on January 30th, 1933, hoping to control him within a coalition government. This proved to be a fatal miscalculation. Within months, Hitler had consolidated his power, dismantling the Weimar Republic and establishing a totalitarian dictatorship. The Enabling Act of 1933 gave Hitler dictatorial powers, effectively ending democracy in Germany. With all opposition crushed, Hitler unleashed the full force of his ideology on Germany and the world. The Nazis embarked on a program of rapid militarization, rearmament and territorial expansion, violating the Treaty of Versailles and setting the stage for another global conflict. They implemented a system of terror and oppression, using the Gestapo, the SS, and a network of concentration camps to silence dissent and eliminate their enemies. The persecution of Jews, a central tenet of Nazi ideology, escalated into a systematic campaign of genocide. The Nuremberg Laws of 1935 stripped Jews of their citizenship and civil rights, subjecting them to discrimination, segregation, and violence. The Kristallnacht pogrom of 1938 marked a turning point as synagogues were burned, Jewish businesses destroyed, and thousands of Jews arrested and deported. With the outbreak of World War II in 1939, the Nazi regime embarked on the final solution, the systematic exterminations of European Jewry. The Holocaust, the darkest chapter in human history, resulted in the deaths of 6 million Jews, murdered in gas chambers, shot by death squads, or worked to death in concentration camps.